welcome everyone to today's videos. So in today's video, it is just more or like it's just more like a practical session that we're gonna do as we do in all the other videos. So today, what is specific about today's video? So I have a couple of questions in my mind. When I was going through Az-104 dump, I had a few questions in my mind, and I was not quite sure about the answer what was given in the dumps. So I decided to just go ahead and practically do that and get the answers also out of it. So in most of the scenarios where I get confused, I would do that practically, so that I will be 100% solid on the answers, and it helps me in the real life scenarios as well. So one such question is that you have two Vnet. It's a different region, so you have two Vnets and you have its respective VM hosted in this both different Vnets. You have a custom web application hosted in one VM. Let's consider in this case it is East US. And now the requirement from client is that you need to move that application to Vnet 2. That's a separate Vnet. That's a whole different Vnet. In this case, let's consider it is Central India. So, what do you think about the situation? Is it possible or not? Question 1. Yes, it is possible. Scenario 2. But how you do it? So the question is like whether do you need to delete a VM, or how you will go ahead and create application, like not create an application, move the existing application. So the point that we need to remember is we cannot go ahead and move one VNet, sorry, move one VM from one VNet to another VNet. Let's find it out in our today's demo, whether can we do it or not. So let's go step by step. So for the new guys who are watching this video may not know how to go ahead and detach a disk, I'll show you where is the option is, and let's try to you know practically do everything possible in this video. Let's make it quite interesting. Let's move a VM from one VNet to another. Let's try detaching a disk, and let's see if you at all you created a disk, how that disk appears in your VM. All these things, let's just go ahead and do it practically, and you can also learn with me how to do that in a real-time scenario. Okay, so as you see, I've already I've already launched VM1 and VM2. And a quite specific thing about VM2 is that I have one disk which is attached to this VM. Let me show that. So when I created this VM, I attached one disk named golden disk, and this is having 1024 GBs of space in that. And this is just to replicate my question. I'm not going to create a web application, but I'm going to create a VM disk 2. Now I'm going to see how I will move the VM disk 2 to VM disk 1. This is attached to my VM2, which is in Central India. Now I'm going to detach this, and I'm going to see how I can attach this disk to my VM which is present in US region. Let us check out, is that possible or not possible? What are all the scenarios that we come across? Let's find everything. Let's go to VM 2. First scenario, you will all be surprised once the VM is launched. Where would you go ahead and find your disk, managed disk? So altogether, if you see, you will have C drive as 126 and a temporary drive as 31.9 GB. But where is the 1024, that is 1224 gigs of drive that we created when we created this particular virtual machine? Where do we need to go and find it? Answer is go to your disk management and find it. The disk mgmt.msc, run this in your run, and then you will get your disk management. You need to initialize that. So once you just open this console, disk management console, you will get an option like this called initialize disk. I'll show you what it is. Scroll it down and you will find an unknown disk with unallocated space. Right click on it and you click on. After initializing the disk, second thing is we are going to allocate this unallocated disk. You get a new simple volume. Go ahead. What name shall we map? Yes. Okay. So I'm just going with all my default settings out here. It is not really necessary to reboot your VM. In this case, let's see if it's already mapped or you need to go ahead and reboot. So answer is no. So you already have your VM, your unallocated disk. So this is very common scenario for the people who is watching newly, for the people who want to learn all these things. So this is a very pretty basic Windows server stuff. Whenever you wanted to add an unallocated disk to your existing VM, this is how you need to partition your drive. Okay. So question number one is finished. Like we created, if it is already a managed disk which is already attached to your VM from your portal, on your first run, the disk will not appear, and this is the possible step that you have to do to make your managed disk appear in your Azure VM. Scenario 1 completed. Let's go for the scenario 2. Now let's go ahead and see what is the thing that we wanted to do now. What shall we do? Let's get back to our VMs. So if you all have a question whether if you can go ahead and move a VM from one option to another, we can do that. I know that most of you would know how to do that, but still I can just let you know, under your virtual machine you have an option called move. Using that you can do it, but you cannot do it from here. You will have to go to your resource groups, and under your resource group you will have an option. Just click on your VM and then you will have an option to move. If you click on move, you will get an option whether you want to move to a different resource group or to another subscription or to another region. In this scenario, let me see if I'm going to move to another resource group, my GL2. I'm not going to move. I'm going to show whether the validation is going to get passed or not. Of course this validation will get passed. It may take a few minutes for us to see if the validation is getting passed or fail. If the validation is getting passed, it means that you're good to go ahead and move the resource, and thus the same will be applicable for different region and different subscription as well. Okay, but our end goal now is to move a VM from one Vnet to another Vnet when both Vnets are not connected or not peered using a Vnet to Vnet peering. Okay, in this scenario I have not created any Vnet to Vnet peering, which meaning that both the VMs will not communicate or talk to each other at all. So let me just pause the video for a quick second. Let me get back and see what is the validation status, whether it has failed or succeeded. I'll show you that. I'm pausing the video for a second. Resuming to the video back, and now if you see, the status of the VM is in succeeded state. So this means that this VM can be moved from one resource to another resource. In this video I'm not going to do that, it's not necessary, but instead I'll show you something else. Okay, now let's come to VM2. The next very simple simple question is how to go ahead and detach a VM. Attach your disks from your VM. How do you do that? So just get into your resource group, go ahead and so in GL2 we have created our unique disk, right? We are going to go there, and this is the disk, golden disk, right? So how do you go ahead and remove? Where is the option for you to go ahead and remove? So this very minute things may not be covered in any of the other videos that you see in internet. May be covered, I'm not quite sure, but in my video I'll tell you each and every single minute steps as well, so that when you are doing a demo from your account you will not have to search the sources. Coming back, where do you find, guys, any options? Let's just go ahead and see. Let's get to our VM under our disk properties. No, disks, here we go. So you see this option under your left blades. I'll just expand and show where possibly you could find that. So you will have all these blades up here, right? Just go to your setting under your VM, and then under your VM you'll have disks. Under settings you will have disk, extensions, operating system, configurations and stuff, right? So once you click on disk, you will see your OS disk. You can also just go ahead and swap your OS disk if at all needed, and this is the option that is available here for you to swap. We can go ahead and swap our OS disk from VM1 to VM2. We can also possibly do that. So here is our manage disk that we created. If you just scroll it to your very right, you will see a very small option here as like a plug which is being detached from your cable. If you just hover your mouse over that, and you see my mouse is pointing towards that blue little sign which calls as detach, and that's exactly where you go ahead and detach, and yes, it is done. Once you click on that, it will be detached. And to attach the existing disk, you will have an option here. Let me discard, refresh. Let me scroll it to the right, go ahead and detach and apply the changes. I'm applying my changes so that this particular disk from my virtual machine is getting deallocated from the VM. Okay, so that was for the demo of detaching a disk from your existing VM. We are back again, attaching the same disk to our VM2 to ensure or create some files in that. So whenever we are doing our next activity, we can ensure that the data saved in this file is not deleted. Let me say this is a file, or I can say this is a golden image 2, golden image whatever, and let me also just go ahead and say some file. So in this case you can think of your configurations files of your application. Let me say this is again a golden egg, just for a funny note, and I'm gonna save this in my drive. Let me check, sharing it under golden image, and this is a golden image. Okay, so what we have saved now, just we are trying to recreate the scenario. We have one configuration file, we have some secrets or a configuration file that has been kept for our application, and that is specifically kept on our provisioned managed drive, and the managed drive is located in your VM2, and this is under your new volume as this is named as golden image. Okay, so this is how the real-time scenario just looks. So now the requirement is, now we wanted to move this disk from your VM2 to VM1, which is present in a whole different region. Let's see if this is possible from your portal. Now let's go ahead and detach it again. As a reference, as a first step, you can go ahead and detach it, apply the changes to VM2, and as you see the progress is here, you will see that the drive has been disappeared. Okay, you cannot find this disk in VM2 now because we have detached, and you see the notification as updated virtual machine. Okay, now comes the serious part. We are going to scenario number 3. We are going to see if we can go ahead and attach an image disk here, or in earlier I would have showed you how to move a resource from one VM to another VM, right? So let's see. We have the resources. Let's go to our GL2. This is where our golden image is there. Note this, it is in central India. I have an option now. I can click on move. I can move to another region. Sorry, I can move to another subscription called as I can move from GL2 to GL1, which is present in a different region. Let me just try to go ahead and move it. Okay, because this is the only option that you see from portal, but there is a certain option that you could do it as well. As I initially said, you cannot move a VM from one Vnet to another Vnet. It's not possible without deleting, without deallocating, and without recreating. That's not possible at all. But now we have to meet our requirements. So what you have to do? First way, go to your portal and see if this is possible. So what we have done, so usually if we are not aware of what is a storage explorer or using the powerline commands like PowerShell commands, we would just be trying to move a resource from one security group to another security group, and then we will see if we can go ahead and attach that disk to a VM1. What do you think, it will be successful or not? Let's watch it. Let's just go ahead and do it practically and see if that is possible or not. I don't want to really reveal the answer whether it will be successful or not. Then we will lose the interest, or we will not exactly know how this entire architecture works. Okay, let's give a few more minutes and see the validation status. And sure, it is going to validate yes, but behind the scene, even though it is moved from a different resource group, but it will be still remaining in the same, the where exactly this source was created. It will still remain in the same region. It will not move to a different region because you're moving it from one resource group to another resource group. Okay, let me pause the video for a second until this validation status changes to success. Okay, as we assume, we could now see that the validation status is succeeded. Let me go ahead and click and move, and you see that we are moving our manage custom disk from one resource to another resource, meaning one region to another region, but it still will remain in the same region. Just go to VM1, our resource group as L1. Let us see if this moved. Let's give a couple of minutes before the deployment is completely moved. Let's wait for this to be moved. Quick tip before this is getting moved. So whenever you are having any questions in your mind, whether the answers are correct or not, I would always recommend you to just directly to jump on a practical and do it. So only you do it, you will know where exactly the options are. As an administrator, it is really important to know where the options are. Only then you will be successfully learning that components. If you don't know where exactly the options are, just only by practically reading or just by seeing YouTube videos, you will not be able to grasp it in your memory. So this is what I used to follow when I used to learn technologies. If you have any doubt, go ahead and do it yourself. Only when you do it yourself, you will have like 1,000 silly questions. Whether you could, move it, whether you could not move it, what is the command line to move it, where you have to move it. You will get a lot and lot of errors when you're doing it the very first time. Trust me, then that's the way how you learn it. Mm-hmm. Come on, you gotta be quicker. Moving resource. Quick, quick, quick. So as I could see already, golden image 2 should have moved there, but still it is not completely moved because we didn't get a notification popped yet. It takes some time to move. Okay, so as we see, I've taken a short break, but we can see that the resource has been, moving a resource from one subscription, like one resource group to another resource group, has been successfully completed. Let's just quickly jump in into, let's see, the golden disk will not be available in our GL2. Now let's get back to our GL, sorry, a different resource group. And now if you see, golden disk is available, but you also see it is located in central US, and rest of all the resources are in east US. Now what do you think? Can we map this golden image to our VM1? Do you think this will work? Let's check it out. So we have a VM1 now. We are going to our disk and we are going to see under attach the existing disk. Okay, surprisingly you see it will not be listed. So the approach, if you are taking, the thing that to be noted in this point is that if you're moving your resource from from one resource group to another resource group, specifically a managed disk, it will not certainly work. That's the outcome of this particular thing what we have done. We are just moving back our golden disk. Again, we are just moving it back to another resource group. We are getting, we are moving it back to our GL2 where it was initially there. Okay, so from this thing, what you understood is that through portal, you will not have any option to do this thing, but there is one another way through which we will be able to do it. That way is Storage Explorer. So as you see now, I have something called Storage Explorer, Azure Explorer. So this is a console from Azure. Through this console, once you mapped your your subscription and then your keyed in your credentials and then got your you connected your Azure portal into this Storage Explorer, you could manage a few things up here. So when you do this, now I can propose a solution instead of deleting a VM and then creating an R virtual disk and then trying to map it. Simply what we are going to do is we are just going to take a copy of the disk that we already have, and once we have the disk, let's see if we can possibly move that to our we can just go ahead and copy that particular image. We can see if we can paste it, and then let's try to map it so we can create in the same region. So initially our source was in which region? It was in India location. So it was in India location. We want the same golden disk to be in East US as well. So the proposed solution that I can think of really now is to go ahead and create a snap of that and then try to create it in copy that source from the other resource group to the destination resource group, and then try to create a image out of it and then try to attach that image to a new VM, that is the VM1 that we have here. and see if that golden image, what we that's the configuration image that I'm talking about, is that folder and the file within that particular drive was accessible or not. So this is the last part of our video today. Let's go ahead and see if that would be successful or not. This can be done once this has been moved back to our resource group itself. And once you have this storage explorer configured, you can see your virtual disk here. You will have an option to do further more things that you cannot do in your portal. This will be very handy and helpful to do and deal with all the storage stuff. So you can just go ahead and do about this this file shares and everything. You can just manage it right from here. So managing from a console is really much more easy and simple than managing in your portal. So I'm also, if you see, I'm seeing a live actions of my account, that whether this golden image has been moved to my GL2 or not. So still it is not yet moved, but you see this L1, still you will see that golden disk which is residing here, which is hosted actually in central India, but now it is in East US. I mean, it is now in L1 resource group. It's a whole different resource group. Let's see the successfully. If you see the validation status success, I'm gonna just go ahead and move it back. So this might take probably a few more minutes. I'm going to pause the video once it is moved back to GL2, and then let's see how that option is. We see now the resource group has been resources in the resource group has been moved. Okay, let's just go ahead and refresh. We will not see the golden image up here, and let's go to our, let's keep this for L1 and this for GL2. Now you see the golden image has been moved. Both disk, VM, everything is located in central India location. What we are gonna do now, go switch to our storage explorer. In storage explorer in GL2, now we should see this golden image. What we are gonna do is go ahead and copy it, go to your resource group L1 and paste it. When you paste it, you will have an option now to see that you see golden disk and location is East US. This is what we needed now exactly. Okay, go paste it. So we are just going to copy and paste it. We are not going to delete, we're not going to override. No, we are not going to do all the stuff. Instead, we're just going to copy and paste it so that we could just replicate the disk and its data. The more important point is the data in the disk. Let's see if we are able to replicate the data in the disk so that our requirement is satisfied. Now we could see that the golden disk has been moved to L1. Okay, and also if you see GL2, you will also see a golden disk there, but you see it is residing in central India. And now if I click on L1, I could see that it is residing in East US. Now let's get back to our portal and refresh. You should see your golden image disk. Okay, where is it? May take a few minutes for it to get completely moved. Once moved, probably, yeah, we have it here. Now it is golden disk and it is residing in East US. Now let's quickly get into our VM and go to our disk, and now click on attach existing disks. Bingo, there you have your golden disk 1. Attach it. We are attaching it to VM1, which is in a different region, which is in a different resource group. Now once after this is completed, we can go ahead and see if this is visible to our VM1. As you see, this is my VM1. Just for reference, I'm minimizing it, just showing This is my simple VM and this is my VM2. In VM2, I'll show you disk is not there, but still I can attach my disk there. And in VM1, I can now see a disk which is attached to it. I can just see a golden image folder and I could see a golden image file. Okay, so it means that the requirement has been completely successful. So in real-time scenario, what we have done, we have created a disk, and that disk holds some key configuration files in where your application is hosted, and that is a source file. So in this scenario, what we can do is we can also utilize our VM or the OS disk in case that if you wanted to move from one different region to another different region, possibly you can follow the same steps that we followed in this video, and you can just go ahead and create a replicated OS disk in your another region, and then out of that OS disk, when you create a new VM, it is very simple to create and deploy a new VM. So once you create a new once you create a new VM, on your steps, you can go ahead and attach the existing disk like what we have done now. This can also be done in your creation steps. So that way you could just go ahead and create your VM, and also you can also create your manage your disks which is present in a different network. It can be managed and accessed by a VM which is almost in an entirely a different region. So that's it. We are almost to the end of this video. So a quick recap of what we have done. We have created two VMs which is completely in different region. One is in US, one is in Central India, and then we try to detach a disk and see attach a disk. Saw that how actually it works in real-time scenarios. We have also seen once you create a managed disk and map it to your Azure VM, how do you go ahead and allocate that disk once you log into your VM for the very first time. Third scenario we have seen using Azure portal, can you move a managed disk from one Azure resource group to another resource group irrespective of its region? Answer is yes, it can be done, but it cannot be mapped. It's because it's almost in a different region, so it is not populated in a region that we have our VM. So it is possible, but the end result will be a failure. To overcome that scenario, we have used Azure Storage Explorer console, and from there we have copied and pasted to a different region, and then we try to map it to a VM, exactly what we needed to do, and we saw that it is also possible to map, and it is also possible to access the configuration information that we really need. So this is how it works for the scenario. So if you get this in your exam, so you can be very confident to answer, go ahead and answer and get your examinations done. So I'll meet you again with the next interesting video. Until then, it's bye from Saravana. Thank you.